Hey guys, happy summer, welcome back to the kitchen. I don't know about you, but there's some recipes I come back to time and time again. And if you are a long-standing viewer of this channel, you will know that one of my favorite recipes is a blueberry and white chocolate cheesecake. I made this in our old house in our garden, and maybe we can put a little video up here so you can see what I'm talking about, but this is a recipe that has always been really successful on this channel. This version is with raspberries and is very easy to do. We're gonna start off by making our biscuit base with some digestive biscuits and some butter, and then we're gonna cream up some cream cheese, a little bit of mascarpone cheese, a little bit of cream, some white chocolate, and then you have this glorious gloopy base. We're gonna pop it into the tin, get it into the fridge, let it sit, and then slice it up to give you the most beautiful summer raspberry cheesecake bars that you can serve to friends and family for your next little summer gathering. Now, to get this started, we're gonna make our biscuit base. So in a bag, I have some digestive biscuits. As an Irish person, I always use digestive biscuits. If you're in the States, graham crackers will do the job. All you gotta do now is take a hammer, and I would use the flat side, give it a good bash until you have nice fine crumbs. I always think this is the moment in the kitchen where you can have, you know, all your aggression turned out. Or don't hit your own thumb. If your aggression turns on yourself, then you know it's probably time for therapy. Give it a good bash until you have that fine crumb. And you really do need to look for a fine crumb here, because I've done this over years, and if you don't have a fine crumb, it basically is hard to kind of create into a nice biscuit base. So do look for a fine crumb here. Bash, 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 bash. And once you have that fine crumb, I have a bowl of melted butter. I have my beautiful biscuit crumbs, and we're just gonna pour them all the way in. With your biscuit base, you know, this is your classic mixture, but there's lots of ways to mix it up. You could go in there with some pretzels, would be absolutely lovely. But this, for me, is all you need for this very simple cheesecake mixture. Now, once you have your biscuits nicely coated, I have my baking tin lined with a little bit of parchment paper. We're going for a square, obviously, because we're gonna make nice little cheesecake squares here. But again, like, this could be made into a nice normal cheesecake round if you fancy. And then once you've poured them all in, we're gonna grab up that mallet again, and using the flat edge, I'm just gonna tamp this down all the way until we have a nice firm biscuit base. So take your time with this, and do make sure that you have a nice even base and that there's not too much inconsistencies across the base of it. I always go for a kind of a nice firm pack here, because when it comes to serving, if you haven't done that, when you slice into it, it can kind of fall apart and crumble. So do take your time to make sure that you have that nice, firm, compact biscuit base. It will make the difference. So now that that's looking good, we've got the first stage of this done. I have my biscuit base ready to rock. This could now go into the fridge to set, but to be honest, I'm gonna keep going, because the beauty of this recipe is that it all can be done in one foul swoop. I have some chocolate that has melted, and it's just been sitting over a little pan of simmering water. It should be, at this point, yes, it's beautifully melted. Now, the trick when you are melting chocolate, it can be a little tricky to work with, but I always start it on a simmering pot of water, and I actually leave it off the heat, just in the residual heat that's in the water that allows it to melt down. And you just give it a little bit of time, and it'll turn really glossy and melted just like that. I like to give it a moment just off the heat to cool ever so slightly before we add it to our creamed cheeses. So while that's cooling, we're gonna mix together our creamed cheeses, or our cheese mixture. So I've got some cream cheese, I've got some mascarpone, which is that really gorgeous Italian, I like to think of it as the Rolls Royce of cream cheese. Our mascarpone is going in alongside our cream cheese. So into a bowl with our cream cheese and our mascarpone, and then just give that a beat through until it's nicely combined. And while it's on speed like this, I'm gonna pour in some double cream, or heavy cream if you so wish. And as soon as it's mixed through and you've got that double cream in there, we're gonna go in with our melted white chocolate. So that goes straight in. And now, the key to this no-bake cheesecake is the white chocolate. So as this goes into the fridge with the raspberries, what will happen is not only will the cream cheeses firm up, but the white chocolate will actually set, and it'll give you a nice firm set on this. So white chocolate in, give that a little mix up. I mean, you can see just how easy this comes together. It literally takes minutes, and you have a cheesecake mixture that is ready to rock. So we've got our biscuit base, we've got a spatula, and I'm just gonna pour it in. Oh yes. Now if that is not a luscious looking cheesecake, I don't know what is. This is why I always use a spatula for these sorts of jobs. You get every last bit, not a single bit of waste. Give that just a little mix through to make sure that it's nice and smooth on top. And now we need to work on our raspberries. If, like I said, you've seen this recipe before, I normally add blueberries, but this version uses raspberries to create a swirl, and then the rest of the raspberries get dotted in, so you get left with something that looks really pretty. So, this is looking gorgeous. It's gonna go into the fridge in a second, but I'm gonna take half of our raspberries now and tumble them into a bowl. And then just using the back of a fork, I'm gonna mush these until we have a nice smooth mixture. One of my absolute favorite flavor combinations is raspberry and white chocolate. There is nothing better in the world, and it kind of instantly reminds me of summery days. So this works really well together, and in cheesecake form, you can't go wrong. And you do want to work your way through these raspberries just until all those little lumps and bumps are mixed through, because it'll be easier to swirl through and make it even more pretty and dainty when it comes time to mix it through. Okay, that is raspberries nicely mushed, and that is, of course, a technical term. You're gonna take up a spoon and then a little teaspoon, and we're gonna bring up our cheesecake onto the board, and then all you gotta do is dollop that little raspberry mixture across the top. Okay, raspberries in, grab up your teaspoon, and then just using the back of that spoon, you're gonna fold that cheesecake mixture into those raspberries. And then to finish it off, we have those fresh raspberries. I'm just gonna dot it in on top. Okay, that's our raspberries in. Now, this needs to set for at least 2 hours in the fridge, just until it's completely solid. Then, it's time to take it out and serve. And if in between filming you have a little brief moment to yourself, just give a little summer cocktail a sip. Right, back to the recipe. Okay, it's come out of the fridge. It has been unmolded, it's cooled, it's set. It's all the things we know a cheesecake to be. I have a sharp knife, and the trick here to make this look a little prettier than this just kind of square mixture is to just slice off the edges. It just gives you a nice clean finish on all sides, particularly when you want them to be nice, beautiful squares. Just look at that. This is what it is all for. Beautiful little raspberry white chocolate cheesecake squares. They look so good, and it just is begging to be eaten. So I'm going to dive in here, and even as you cut in, you see how luscious that looks. Right, no more talking. There is a reason I come back to this recipe, and the amazing thing is we haven't added any sugar in here. It's the sweetness of the white chocolate that works with the fruit, that works with that heavy, creamy mixture, and then that beautiful biscuit base. It is a next level no-bake cheesecake that you're gonna wanna try, and if you want the full recipe, as always, it's in the box below. You'll get it on my website. You can hit that subscribe button to ring the bell for notifications to know when recipe videos like this land your way, and of course, leave me a comment letting me know if you tried the original way back when, or if you're gonna try this lovely new variation. Now, all that's left to do is sneak off into a corner and eat the rest of this by myself. Goodbye.